I was at a conference this weekend and I heard this great statement. And the statement was, I wouldn't be here if I didn't get the training that I got. And they were talking about this very unusual circumstance that they got, that they grew up in a place that wouldn't normally have great educational resources, but they were given by just simply dumb luck the opportunity to go into a really good school, which then got them into a graduate school with a really, really good supervisor, which got them a position someplace as a researcher, as as a professor. And I hear about this all the time. When you talk to people, you will realize that that statement, that they were given some resources by dumb luck, it is deeply embedded in all of the things that happen in the academic game. Now, there's a group of people that you often talk to as well that they say it's because that they worked really hard to get to where they wanted to go to, and then they look the other way. When I talk about this in the Reciprocity Project, I make it open. I'm like, look at it, all the people that are coming from other countries. Look at all of the other people that try and they don't make it, and they try to do research and they find out it's very difficult and they stop. It falls on often very much dead ears, where it's just like you get the look and people just walk away. And they don't realize that this is a tremendous waste for everybody. And it's simply because that they didn't get the opportunities. Maybe they didn't have somebody that coached them along. Maybe they don't have that skill set inside, which is, maybe it's a personality characteristics, maybe it's genetics that allows them to sort of push away things. And then they sort of say, well, it was all on me. I'm really strong. And yet everything else, if you look at statistics, you look at how challenging people face the graduate school experience, the PhD experience, and then the professor experience, how difficult it actually is, that, if you start looking at it and you just look at raw statistics on all the number of different things that you might look at, it's flabbergasting, right? Just go on the internet and start looking at memes. Just type in PhD memes, and every single one of them is very negative about the process. So, this is the thing that drives me crazy, is that I know that we can change this and we can just simply have some tools that will allow us to change it. So that's why I'm building the reciprocity platform. The idea is to start with a non-rejectable research paper or a non-rejectable grant. Maybe I'll get there. But the idea is you start at that, where it's non-rejectable, and you work backwards. What does it take to actually get there? And that means that there's all sorts of other things. It's just not about AI. I'm sorry to say, we've had tools, we've had calculators for years. We've had pen and paper for years. It's not about the tools. It's about having the motivation, the step-by-step process, the unclear, dealing with the uncertainty and all of that kind of stuff that is behind it, that makes it very difficult for people to get back up and to get going and to try again. And so if we can get anybody to do this, right, and that's my goal, anybody to get to a point where they have something that's quite decent in it, and it's, it's a good paper, why wouldn't we actually try for that particular goal? There's so much wasted resources. If you look at it, if you start looking at it, you're like, oh my gosh, this is like ridiculous. Why are we wasting so many resources doing this when we can actually build systems in place to make it a lot more easier to actually get to the point where you do have something that is promising, that it is a good idea, and you catch those things before it actually happens. And if you don't have the training, right, I was privileged to have the training. If you don't have the training, good luck. It's going to be very difficult for you. And most people that don't have the training, they're not going to actually make it. I'm sad to say, it's not going to happen unless you have that weird personality which I think is actually just genetics anyways, that we're weird personality that just says screw it, right? Like the rest of the people are not being served, right? And this is not at all. First of all, it's not democratic, it's not scientific in any sort of way in terms of scientific virtues that we actually try to display as researchers and scientists. And then B, it's wasteful. It's a completely inefficient system to have that. Why not build us up as we go? And it becomes easier and easier and easier to get to the point where you actually have something. That's why we have all of the things where there's cheating and, all of those incentives to sort of cheat the system. It's because there's so much ambiguity. People don't know how to actually get there. And then they decide to do something that was actually cheating the system. And everybody knows that it was cheating the system. I'm just saying I'm exasperated with all of this. It's always falling on dead ears where I'm just like, listen, this is a challenge that we all face. And it's always the people that have already made it. It is the full professors, the famous people, all of those things that rarely underestimate, or they rarely say like, hey, wait a minute, I was fortunate. Wait a minute, this wasn't just about all of my hard work. Wait a minute, there's other people out there that are struggling, that don't know how to get there, that they need a step-by-step process, right? And it's all of those people. This is the thing that's exasperating for me, is that there is a whole bunch of people out there that get underserved. A ton of people, particularly if they're not from, particularly the United States. I'm going to be right out and frank. Science is all done in English. It's all done mostly in America. There's a strong American bias, and we all know it. Then on top of it, we have all of these people that want to do it and they can't participate for a number of different reasons. But then we make it very difficult because we only say that only those that have access to this small group are the ones that should be able to actually get there. But I don't believe that. I believe that everybody, everywhere, should have access and have the skills and capabilities to do good research and do good science. But we need the tools to do that. And it's not just about AI. It's about the belief that you can do it. And then this systematic step-by-step process to actually get there. It's exasperating. I'm constantly fighting the same battle over and over and over again. And I hope I'm winning hearts and minds with you. I hope you're starting to see that it's not just a few people. There's a lot of people in this world that find it extraordinarily difficult to actually do good research. And I think we can move the needle. I just need your help. Take care and have a wonderful day.